Hello there, good evening, everybody. I want to welcome you all here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph, the Crooked Hat, and I am the host of this channel. So we're going to do an episode of 25 tonight. I haven't done one for a while. This one was just kind of a random idea that I came up with. I've probably done something similar to this or close to it in recent past or maybe later past. I'm not really sure. But I decided tonight I'm going to do, I decided this last week I was going to do this episode. So we're going to do something, some people might say it's clickbait. I don't know, maybe it is, I don't know. So we're doing my 25 favorite bands and the album I think is the worst one by them. Basically, that's it. I'm going to try and stick with the ones I actually own. There's some albums that are so bad I don't even own them, or I haven't gotten around to buying them, or whatever for whatever reason. And I'll kind of clarify this as I do them as we go along. So I don't want to make this too lengthy, so we're going to get right to it. And I'm just going to do this in the order that the bands would have been my top to my bottom of them. So I've picked out the 25 bands and the 25 albums. I'm going to go to it. And I'll kind of give you an idea of how many albums actually owned by them while I'm doing it as well. So the first one out of the gate is going to be Cheap Trick. Yep. This album. I think is this their debut? I think it's their debut. Yeah, I believe this is their debut album from 1977, simply called Cheap Trick. I don't dislike this album though. So I have actually, I believe, 5 Cheap Trick albums, including Live at Budokan. This one is probably mainly just kind of got that 1950-ish feel to it. The bonus tracks are pretty good as well. There's nothing out here that really stands out as anything great, but there's no real bad stuff on here either. So they do have Taxman on here, Mr. Thief, which is okay. So the whole album is okay. It's not a bad album, but for me, it's of the ones I own, it's the worst. There's quite a few albums out there that I don't own by them, probably triple what I own. I don't own. The band hasn't really done much for me over the past decade or so, and I'm probably going to drop out of my top 25 in this year or so, because there's a lot of upcoming bands that are just on the cusp of making this. So the next one up is this band Nektar. I chose this album not because I dislike it. I actually kind of like this album, but I just like all their other ones better. That's all it is. So this could be their worst album for me, but I like it. So I haven't got an album by Nektar that I don't like. There are quite a few I still don't own, but I think I'm in around the 8 album range now, so I don't know how many they've got. But this one is probably the worst of the ones I own. It's still good, though. It has the best cover, or one of the best covers of any of their albums. And it's a good album. It's just not a great album like their other ones. So Nektar, that's my number 24 here. Number 23, this is a band that it's become a bit of an anemic band for me. I'm not really sure why. I had high expectations after the first and second album by the band. But the last 4, so I'm on going on to their 7th album now. And 3 of the last 4 I haven't really cared much for. They haven't really done anything for me. I do like the one album in there, which is Lark's Tongues and Aspic, and of course we're talking about King Crimson. This is this is not even right side up, sorry. If I had to choose an album to put down at the bottom, it would be this one. I just can't penetrate it. It's not that I dislike it. I don't really have an opinion about it, really. I've listened to it, and it just, nothing sticks with me. So, anyways, Lizards from King Crimson. That's the 23rd one. 22. So I have 5 albums by this band. Their first 5, which I like a lot. This one I like the least because it has the least amount of deep cuts that I like and the least amount of hits that I like. But it's still not a bad album. It's kind of an outlier from those first 5. Clearly, to me, it's the weakest of the 5 albums. Now, you could put anything from the 1980s. Actually, I think I have 6 of their albums. 6. This one's the least of them, only because it only has one track on here that I really quite like a lot, which is Heartless. Devil's Delight's okay, too. The Here song is okay, but most of the stuff that they put out in the 1980s, after the first 6 album run, before they kicked out all of the remaining original members, and then went to this kind of hair metal, almost sound poppy, really poppy stuff that I don't like any of those albums. I have no interest in buying any of them, so you could technically put all of those albums in tonight's thing and you wouldn't be off. But this is of the ones I own, this one's probably the one I like the least. So there you go. That's number 22, right? So number 21 is Rainbow. Now I only own 3 Rainbow albums. This one is still fairly new to me, so it's getting in this spot primarily because it's new to me. Now, some of their other albums without D.O on them I haven't really explored yet, so I can't make any comments on them, and I won't. There's a couple of them that I know a few songs off of, but nothing really serious. But this album is good. Could end up being my favorite of the 3 once I start really playing it a lot, which I haven't yet. So this is my worst one for Rainbow. That's my number 21. Number 20. This one gets this spot virtue of being the only album by this vocalist that I have. If I had to pick one from the other vocalist, I'm not sure what I would do because I love them all. This one here is my least favorite Van Halen album because it's the one that I own with Sammy Hagar doing vocals, and I simply don't care for that era of Van Halen at all. This is not a terrible album, though. Again, it's down at the bottom virtue of virtually because the other 6, all the David Lee Roth ones I love. There isn't one of them that I don't love. This one is just a notch below all of them. So that's my number 20, I think. So let's make sure I got this right. Yeah, so number 19. This one I've only listened to once. I didn't really care for it. It's not really what I have become used to, but it doesn't surprise me either. I'm talking about Gentle Giant for a Day. It doesn't surprise me that I'm not going to like it. Many people have said that it's not that good, and I found that they're probably right. It's not terrible, though. Like, there's lots of bands out there that have worse stuff than this. I just don't care for this much. It's not really what I've come to like Gentle Giant for. So it's going to come here in last for my Gentle Giants album, and that's what's that, number 19? Yep. Number 18, if I'm correct here. I seem to keep losing track, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this, so now I know where we are. So this is, of course, Bachman-Turner Overdrive, or B.T.O. Actually, this wasn't actually called Bachman-Turner Overdrive at this point. They lost the rights to use that. They were still allowed to use the B.T.O. label. So if you're going by the B.T.O. label, Street Action is the album here. That is probably my least favorite B.T.O. album, but I like it. I like all of the B.T.O. albums I have. I think they're all good to great, and this one is no exception. It's a good album, solid. So that's my number 18. Number 17. Okay, so I have probably 15 of their studio albums, and I had to choose one. This one's kind of a solo album by the artist. It's Peter Criss's solo album. Not a good album. It does have some good stuff on it, but I would say it's not a good album. And of the Kiss albums that I actually own, this is my least favorite. If I was ranking them, this would be down to bottom. But they have a lot of stuff that came out after Lick It Up, which is my last album, that I have no interest in. And if I owned them, Peter Criss wouldn't be at the bottom here. So that's just where we're going with that one. That's number 17. Number 16. So I could have picked a lot of this band's later studio albums because I simply don't know any of them. So the ones that I do know, I don't really hate or anything like that. But of the ones of the earlier albums, this is the one I dislike the most. AC/DC's Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Not really a great album. There's a couple of tracks on here I like. The title track, I like that one. Yeah, pretty much Problem Child is the other one. The rest of them, I could live without pretty much the whole album. Not a great album. Everybody gets a stinker in there once in a while. This one is theirs. And like I said, there are some other albums by the Brian Johnson era that I probably won't like either, but I haven't got them, so I can't really make any comments about it. But for today, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, number 16. Okay, now we're going to go on to the second stack here. I'm actually going to break it into stacks of 5 so I don't lose my count again. We'll start by doing this album I like a lot. I like this album a lot, but I like all of their albums a lot. Some of them I actually love a lot. But I had to pick one, so we're going to go with the Blue Oyster Cult's debut. I could have went with Mystery and Mutations, but I decided that lately this one has been the one that I've liked the least. Still, not a bad album. Not bad at all, but I don't think it ranks up there with the other ones. So, that's my number 16 from Blue Oyster Cult, their debut. Number 15. This one I don't like. This is a very kind of different type. It's not, to me, it's not really even a rock album. It does have some, interesting stuff on it, but it's just nothing really memorable here. So of the 8 or 10 or 12 Neil Young albums that I own, and I'm not quite sure how many I have, this is the one that I dislike the most. So Neil Young, from my observation, has some absolutely fantastic albums. He has a whole whack of mediocre albums, but he does have some stinkers too, and I think this one's one of them. Prairie Wind. So number 14, or number 13 actually, we're down that far now. This is from Supertramp. This is a decent album. It's pretty good actually. If they didn't have any of those other albums, this would be a good album. But when you're ranking them up against the other albums that I own, and I own everything from their debut up to this one, and I think I have one new one too that I haven't listened to yet. But this one, it's just weak. It's just the weakest by virtue of being more poppy than some of the others, and a lot of it is I haven't listened to it as much, and when I do listen to it, it doesn't really do a whole lot for me. So Supertramp's Famous Last Words going to be number 13. Next up, from a legendary band, maybe the greatest band of all time, Led Zeppelin. This one I had to put in here because it's simply a throwaway album in some ways. It does have a couple of good tracks on here. Where is it? Ozone Baby, pretty solid track. We're Gonna Groove, the opening track, really good. And I like Poor Tom too. Darlene is okay, but the rest of them pretty unmemorable. They should probably never have put this album out. It was just a bunch of throwaways put together on an album so that they could make a Led Zeppelin album, and easily their worst album in my opinion. That's my number 12. Number 11 comes from one of my favorite, a band that has done exceptionally well since I started this channel. I liked them a lot before the channel. I love them even more now. Judas Priest. This is the point of entry. It's a little lackluster when it comes to the Judas Priest sound. I wouldn't say it's definitely not a pop album by any stretch, but it just lacks that Judas Priest zoomp that I've come to love. There are a couple of decent tracks on here. Head Out on the Highway, which is probably the big hit on the album, is good. Hot Rockin' is good as well. I like that. On the Run is good. This has a couple of bonus tracks which are pretty good as well. And this is the classic band with Dave Holland on the drums here. Yeah, it's a good album, just not a great one. It's by Judas Priest standards, it's kind of mediocre. So that's my number 11. Next up, I'm going to move these up so they don't fall off the bed when I'm piling the rest on. So next up we have Iron Maiden. This one is by far the worst one that I own. It doesn't even, to me, it doesn't really sound like Iron Maiden. There's nothing that brings Iron Maiden to mind when I hear it. The vocalist doesn't really sound like Bruce Dickinson at all. The music seems very different from what I'm used to by Iron Maiden. And, maybe if I took it separately from the rest of the Iron Maiden discography and just treated it as an album by a rock band, I might care for it more. But it is in the Iron Maiden discography, and to me, it's not even close to being anywhere near their great stuff. So that's my, and I don't think I even told you, this is just called X, the X Factor. Now, there are 4 or 5 Iron Maiden albums I don't own, and that goes also for Judas Priest. I don't own 4 or 5 albums, so that may get supplanted soon, you never know. But there's, of the ones I own, that's the one that's not even close. It's by far the worst, I think. Next up is my group of 9, the first one of the group of 9, Pink Floyd. This one wins it by pretty much landslide. So the last album, which I can't even remember the name of, Endless River, I think it's called, I don't own, so I can't make a comment. I've never heard it, can't make any comments about it. But of the ones I own, this is by far the one I like the least. There are a couple others in the discography that, I actually don't like this album, which is unusual for me to say. There's nothing about this that stands out. I can't remember a single track, and it just doesn't sound like anything Pink Floyd at all, just a weak album to me. There are other ones in their discography that are kind of weak too, but I like at least something on them. Amagama comes to mind. That's the first one that comes to mind. Not a huge fan of that album either, but it's not terrible. This one I think qualifies as terrible. I'm trying to think. More is not great, but I don't dislike it either. And then the debut album I think doesn't really sound like Floyd to me. I don't hate it, but it doesn't sound like Floyd. I wouldn't rank it as a Floyd album if it didn't have their name on it. The rest of them are either good or great. Starting with Saucer Full of Secrets, another fantastic album. Even once you get to it from Atomic, some Atom Heart Mother all the way through to Animals, just absolutely legendary group of albums there. And then you got The Wall, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I've grown to like it a little more. I think it's more on the like side than dislike, but this one I definitely don't like. So this is my pick for number 9. Next up, number 8 from Peter Gabriel. And I'm not really sure. I didn't include any of the musical scores because they're not really made. They're not really stuff that I've listened to a lot. This one I included because I've listened to it a fair number of times now. It just isn't warmed up to me very well. Maybe the newest one, the I.O., might supplant it for the worst, but I don't think so. I just haven't listened to it, so it's hard to put it anywhere. But this one, of the ones I own, this one I think is easily the one I like the least. I don't dislike it. I don't think it's terribly memorable. So that's number 8. Number 7 from Black Sabbath. This is the only one that of the ones I own that I'm not a big, huge fan of. To me, it really doesn't sound a lot like Sabbath. It's kind of very poppy. This is Technical Ecstasy. I'm not really sure what's going on here. A couple of robots. The album itself just feels kind of weak. Like it doesn't really feel like a Black Sabbath album. I guess there's a couple of tracks on here, Dirty Woman and Backstreet Kids. They're okay. But overall, I just find this to be a bit on the weak side. So Technical Ecstasy from Black Sabbath, number 7. Number 6 from The Who. Again, an album that I don't dislike, but I think it's clearly the worst of the ones I own. Even more so than the other one that they put out shortly before or shortly after this one. What year was this one? This one's from 82. So it's the one just before I like a little bit better. This one, not as much. Very poppy, very of its time. I do like the song Athena. It was kind of their hit. The rest of the stuff isn't as good as what I would come to expect from The Who. So, It's Hard by The Who. Yeah, it's hard to give this thing anything other than last place. I am missing a couple of Who albums, My Generation and a quick one, While There's a Way. I don't know what the title of that one is, but I suspect that they're probably better than that. So when I get them, then we'll know. Next up is the top 5. So these are my 5 favorite bands, and coincidentally, every single one of them has a stinker in its discography. Some of them more than one. We're going to start with the Styx first. This, to me, is a stinker. I do not like this album. It's very mediocre, even by, Styx. So Styx from Paradise Theater is kind of the beginning of that really strong poppy era that I didn't care for, but I didn't mind Paradise Theater. Once beyond that, they just completely lost me for a while, and this is the worst of them, I think. Even worse than the Mr. Roboto thing, which I can't remember the name of. But that's a terrible album. This one's a terrible album. I suspect most of the stuff in the late 80s and 90s qualifies as that, but there's many of them I don't own yet. I got this one for $2. That's why I took it. But of the ones I own, this one is clearly in last place. I do not like this album. There isn't any of the other Styx albums that I own that I don't like. Some of them not as much as others. That's number 5. I can feel myself going to go into a coughing fit. So now we're down to the top 4 bands. The next one up is Genesis. Now Genesis is Genesis, whole 1980s and beyond. I'm not a huge fan of any of them. I don't dislike any of them though. There's at least 1 or 2 songs on every one of their albums that I like. This one's no exception. This is going to be last. A lot of people don't like this album, so it's not really going to surprise anybody here. There's 2 songs on here I do like. Jesus, He Knows Me. I like that a lot. Not One of Mine. The opening track is okay as well. The rest of the stuff is kind of not terribly memorable. It's not terrible stuff, but there's people that tell you it's absolutely brutal. I don't listen. I never reach for this album, so maybe that's why I chose it tonight. The other Genesis albums, like Abacab and Genesis, the album, self-titled album, Invisible Touch, Duke. From Duke on, there's usually only 2, possibly 3 songs on an album that I like. Everything before that, absolutely adore. Love it. Masterpieces, great stuff, but this one I think is probably their worst. I do not own I don't even know the vocalist's name. I know his last name's Wilson. I was going to call him Steven Wilson, but I know it's not him. I don't own that album, so I can't really make a comment about it, but this one to me is probably the worst, but it's only the worst by a little bit. There's a couple of the other albums, the self-titled Genesis album, not great either, but has a couple of tracks I like on it. Abacab is better than any of the other ones that came out, only strictly because of the song Abacab, which I probably like more than any of that era Genesis stuff combined. So that's my number 4, Genesis, We Can't Dance. Next one is Yes. Could have picked any one of about 3 or 4 albums. Yes has their discography early on was among the best discographies of any of the bands that I like. Once they got past Drama, it was a hit and miss. There were some of the albums after Drama are okay, they're good. Some I like a fair bit. Fly From Here comes to mind. The Keys to Ascension, number 2, I like that a lot. Magnification is good. Their most recent album, Mirror to the Stars or Mirror to the Sky, I think it's Mirror to the Sky. Those are all pretty decent albums, but there's a bunch that are not decent at all. And this one, I think, deserves to be on this list for that reason. I think this is easily their, well, I shouldn't say that. It's easily their worst. It currently is their worst. I own all of their stuff now. Even Heaven and Earth, I like a little bit more than this one. Some of the other stuff, the one where they all got together, was like 9 of them. Can't think of the name of it right now. I don't care much for that one either. But this one, for me today, is going to go down as the worst one. Open Your Eyes is the name of it. It's a terrible cover, too. So now we're down to the final 2 bands. First one up is Jethro Tull. I picked this one. I do not like anything on this album. I don't know if I hate this album, though. I can't make up my mind. I don't think I hate it. I haven't listened to it enough to really give it that. It's just a very weak album. I don't like much about it, really. But he has other stuff, too. Or they have other stuff that's not great either. So there's about, like me, this one that's probably at the bottom. There's like 3 or 4 other ones that are very weak. They have some stuff on them, but nothing really great. Most of them are from the 90s. Maybe it might be easier to name the ones I do like. I like Crest of a Knave a lot. I like Roots to Branches. I like Catfish Rising, and I like the first one after the 20-year break, the Zealot Gene. I do like, there's like 3 or 4 tracks on that I like quite a bit, so that puts it out of the range of being at the bottom. The next 2 albums after that are okay, but I don't really love them either. Trying to think of the other albums. JethroTull.com, not good either, but I think this one's the worst of them. So that's my number 2. So now we're going to my number 1 band, and we'll try to get this done quick. So this is Rush. This is easily the worst one. Well, not easily, but I don't like this album. I never reach for it. I think this is a terrible album. Lots of things about this I don't like. I can't even... Show Me, Don't Tell Me is okay. The rest of it, I just don't like any of it. I could have went with Power Windows. I don't like that album either, but I think it's a better album than this one. The other 2 that a lot of people tend to go off on are the Red album, whose name I always forget. I think it's called Hold the Fire. I think that's what it's called. That one I like, actually. Of the 4 and Roll the Bones, I like both of those albums. There's nothing great on any of them. Some people put Roll the Bones as the worst. I actually don't mind it. This one I just can't stand at all. And that's it. Everything else by them I like a lot. So there's about 3 or 4 albums that aren't great. This one is easily the worst, though. So that's my list. I'm not going to give it to you in the reverse order. Actually, I guess I should. We'll do it quick. So for Rush, number 1, Presto. Number 2, Jethro Tull's Under Wraps. Number 3, Open Your Eyes from Yes. Number 4, We Can't Dance. Or We Can't Dance. Apparently not. Genesis, that's my number 4. Number 5, Styx's Edge of the Century. What did I call this? I think I didn't call it Edge of the Century, but this one is number 5. Number 6 is It's Hard by The Who. Number 7, Technical Ecstasy by Black Sabbath. I have to make sure that I mentioned, because I forgot this, I don't own any of the Tony Martin albums, so I can't say much about them. I will eventually have them all, and then we'll see what happens after that. Next up, Peter Gabriel's Up. Not great. That's number 8. Number 9, Pink Floyd's The Final Cut. Number 10, Iron Maiden's the X Factor. That's number 10. We'll take the next 5 here. There we go. Oh, actually, I should throw Led Zeppelin in there. That's what it is. Okay, so next up is Point of Entry from Judas Priest. That's number 11. Number 12 is Coda from Led Zeppelin. Number 13 is Famous Last Words from Supertramp. Number 16, that's number 13, sorry. Number 14 is Neil Young's Prairie Woods. Not good. And Prairie Wind, I don't even know the title, right? Something's not right. I'm missing. AC/DC, forgot them. AC/DC's Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap. That's number 15. Blue Oyster Cult's Debut. That's number 16. Oh, I dropped them. Not good. Grab the pile. Don't lose any. Kiss is Peter Criss, number 17. Rock and Roll Nights from... Sorry, not Rock and Roll Nights. Street Action from B.T.O. Number 18. Number 19, Gentle Giant's Giant for a Day. Number 20, Van Halen's 5450, or is it 50-50-51? I don't remember. It's got a number on it. 5150. I knew I'd get it eventually. Number 21, Rainbow's Long Live Rock and Roll. Great album, but there's only 3 I own, so somebody's got to go last. Magazine from Heart. That's number 21. Sorry, 22. Number 23 is Lizards from King Crimson. Number 24 is Nektar's Time Machine. And the last is Cheap Trick's debut album. So those are the 25 albums I think are probably the worst in my collection of the ones I own from each of those bands. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's meant to be just fun. I wouldn't get too serious about it. Please hit the like and subscribe. If you want to leave any comments, you can do that in the comment section below. And we will see you next week with another. I think we're going to do a 5, and then we're going to do the 2 final lists of the year. Or maybe I'm too early on that. I think we'll do a 5 next week, and then, yeah, the 2 final lists of the year, which will be my 25 favorite albums in my playlist for this year. And then the last one will be my 25 favorite rock albums released in 2025. So take care, have yourself a good evening, and goodbye here from the Prog Monster.